My name is Devika. I am a technical recruiter at Climate People, and we just recently helped place Matthew at Optera Climate as a software engineering manager. Matt, it was great working with you, and I'd love to hear more about how your experience was kind of transitioning your career into climate and what some of the interests were for you to want to move into the space.
Sure. So I've always, I went to grad school to get my master's in urban planning, and I did that because I had a deep care for the world around me and wanted to make a positive impact on the world. Um, when I was in that space, I also developed a love of technology and wanted to find a good way to merge those two things and use technology and data to give back in some way. Throughout my career, it's always something that while I wasn't able to do it at grad school, I wanted to come back to that and take the skills that I developed working at larger companies in the e-commerce space and use that to build something that's going to really affect the world around me in a positive manner. So over the past few years, I've been in my role, building up those skills, building up relationships, experiences. And I think this year, just with various personal events and political and climate events happening, really felt that it was time to change. It was time to make something happen and fulfill that promise I had made to myself so many years ago to come back and use my skill sets that I've developed and provide some kind of mission-driven goal. For me, one of my focuses was looking for something in the climate tech space where I could use data preferably to help show the story and tell the story that companies are having in terms of their impact. And through Climate People, I was able to get connected with Optera, a company based pretty close to me in Boulder, Colorado, that shared that same mission, which was fantastic for me. And through the interview process, really found out that their mission aligned with what I wanted to do, and thankful for the placement to let me actually get to work and start making that positive impact at a much broader scale through my day-to-day activities.
Yeah. So also on that note, so I know that you've kind of reached this point in your career where you were ready to move into climbing. You were really driven by this. I know that when we had first spoken in our initial chat, that you had like every year you kind of do this like introspective approach to where you're at with your career, where you kind of want to go. Did you experience any barriers to kind of taking the shift into climate and starting to find climate jobs that interested you?
Yeah, I think the barriers really were just knowing what was out there. When I had graduated a few years ago, this space wasn't as really developed as it is today. There's not only interest in founders to create these types of opportunities to really see tech as a way to combat climate change. So now there's many more opportunities to do that, which I didn't have before. There's a lot more investment opportunities as well. But probably the hardest part was actually knowing about them. I knew I was thinking about it, and I would just go on to your normal like places I would look for a job like LinkedIn or Indeed and just kind of search around. And I was a little, at first when I started my search, discouraged because I was, just having things come into me and just not really being interested in it. They were all kind of the same type of thing in the same type of space I'd been working at. And it wasn't until I connected with you, Devika, and Climate People, where I had a bit of a guide really to show me what was out there and to have a partner in that process. And I think it was really refreshing on our first conversation to explain to you what I was looking for and someone who got it. And someone who got it and was like, here's 5 companies that we can go talk to right now to place you. So really having that kind of partner in the space to navigate that and cut through the noise of the job market, especially right now, was really helpful and helped me get past the main obstacle of just finding something I could start digging into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even the climate of the job market right now, it's something that we've spoken about so often. It's crazy how competitive everything is right now, but it's so important to kind of tie everything back to why you're even on the market and why you're looking and how making an impact in the environment in this space kind of exceeds all these other things that are kind of surrounding with noise. Because again, like there's so many challenging problems and solutions to, be made in this space. And I think a lot of these awesome tech companies that are in the climate area, they all take everything from a very promising and compelling standpoint. So, and your optimistic approach and your approach as a leader, um, bringing those skill sets to a team that's growing is going to be so exciting. So, I'm super pumped about that. So, uh, kind of share a little bit more about the job that you took and, what your overall mission is and what you'll be doing at the company.
Sure. So Optera is a company that's really focused on helping organizations understand their footprint in terms of natural resource use, greenhouse gas emissions using software. So it puts those numbers right in front of their sustainability teams, not just to give them the data to understand what their baseline's at, but also help them to start seeing what actions they can take to achieve net zero or whatever their other sustainability goals are. My role is Optera is a rapidly growing company. Engineering is a huge part of that, to build out that process, to build out that software product that we provide to our customers. So really, I'll be on the front lines of building out that team, growing the existing team, and helping them navigate that space. With rapid growth comes obviously many challenges, and just making sure that we can navigate that in a way that's driving value for our customers, our employees, and in the end, driving to that mission of achieving net zero.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of piggybacking off of what you just said, like with rapid growth comes rapid change. I feel like that's kind of the epitome of the climate tech industry, wouldn't you say? Do you have any advice for people like you or in a similar boat who want to get a job in this space? Like what did you do that worked, and what would you recommend that these people follow suit and do?
Yeah, I think for me, Devika mentioned it earlier in the conversation. I always like to have a personal retrospective every year. I'm just kind of like write down the things that I have in my life that I'm grateful for, but also the things that I feel like I'm missing. And as part of that process, I came back to this kind of mission that I feel like I had lost out on, or wanted to get back into. And for me, what really helped was just being very sincere about what I wanted out of a role, both work-wise and mission-wise, but also being very confident in the skill set that I had gained over the past few years, and being able to tell the stories of how I was able to build things up, how I was able to create things and circumvent challenges. Because, to the original question, this is not, nothing is easy. Climate change is one of the most difficult problems we will face as a society. So just seeing how people have that, being able to demonstrate that grit that I think I've been able to put in day to day, being able to tackle those challenges, and showing that I was ready for that position and had thought a lot about coming into a mission-oriented company, I think helped me out in the long run, and being able to speak to yourself, your truth really to the folks you're talking to. I know when I interview folks, that means a lot to me, and I think with the companies I interviewed with in this space, to see how aligned I was with their mission was invaluable.
Definitely. I feel like you hit the nail on the head with the proper interview techniques. It's show your experiences, but don't just say them, show them. Like, how can you apply what you did and tie that into the greater mission of climate change and really just show the impact that you could make? That's awesome. So yeah, I'm sure people will really appreciate that. Would you mind touching a little bit on your experience working with climate people?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So again, I was just kind of wandering about the internet looking for something. Came upon Climate People's posting for this job, submitted my resume, and then got contacted Devika. She reached out to me, and we had an amazing conversation about what I wanted out of the role, what Climate People's what Climate People could bring to me in the conversation, and the connections that they already had. And that was really the beginning of it, where I got connected to Optera through Devika, and really felt supported through that entire process. She was always checking in to see how my interviews were going, gave me the heads up for what I could expect next, or if I was lacking anything in information. And really being my advocate. I feel like oftentimes when you interview, you feel like you're kind of going it alone. It was great to have that partner there. And then when it came time to get the offer, she was in my corner. We talked through it. We kind of figured out what the best thing for me was in the situation, and she helped make it happen. So for me, it was great to have that kind of confidant and advocate throughout the entire process. And I felt just what really blew me away with Climate People was how tied everyone I've talked to in the process has been to the mission, and really understood the importance and urgency behind it. And I think that was something I didn't really think about until the end, but I always, when I look back at all of our conversations, there was a lot of intention around them, and a lot of like, let's make something happen. And that really resonated with me. And I think, like you said too, it's a crazy job market. There's a lot of stuff going on. This really felt like every time I talked with Climate People, I could really focus in on it, and I knew we were coming to something good through the process.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so awesome to hear. I feel like, one, Tamika is incredible. So you got lucky with her. And then two, I feel like in this industry, that's really just the gist of it, is everyone in climate tech wants to make that impact and they know what we're dealing with, and the stakes of not acting are. So everyone really wants to ensure that we bring good people in like you, and we get them jobs, and we really start acting on it, because in order to get to a solution, we really have to do the legwork first. So yeah, that's awesome. Tamika, do you have any more questions about like background or anything like that?
No, but just a quick note on what you were just saying too, Nat. I think that's the beauty of climate tech in this space, is the alignment and synergy within the teams that are all working towards like this common mission. So kind of seeing that and being able to be positioned so uniquely at the forefront of innovation when all of this is about to take off and just launch up. There's so much good to come and so much impact to be made. So you're joining Climate at an awesome time, and you're going to do great building out this team and working on this current team. So, I like to say it's not the end of the relationship, it's the beginning. So I want to see all the great stuff that you're going to be doing, Matthew, and I'll still be here. So anything you need, I'm around for sure. So yeah.
Thank you, Tamika. And thanks again for everything you and the rest of the folks at Climate People have done. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, we also, while we are super proud of placing people in climate jobs, and that is our #1 priority, we're also really proud to donate 1% of every placement fee to an environmental nonprofit. So we're working with a few environmental nonprofits, and every time we place someone in a climate job, we donate 1% of that to your selection. We send them over, can give you a quick little refresher if you need it, but do you know which nonprofit you would like to donate to?
Yeah, I chose the Hunold Foundation.
Perfect. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, they're a great organization. Do you rock climb at all or anything like that?
Yeah, on and off. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know how Alex Honnold likes to do. He's a good man, but he does some crazy things, but then likes to funnel that support into good causes as well. So thank you so much. Yeah, we will send that over and donate that in your name. So thank you, 1, for working on climate, and 2, for donating that as well.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much.